grandparents that loved me, that had big houses, we had big yards, and we had the freedom of the town to play in as children. And my parents were happy and everybody loved me. That's how I felt. And I was just a happy-go-lucky kid. Very, loved music already then, and had friends everywhere, and the whole town was just a friendly place. And then I started feeling differences when we had air raids. When, because I was 9 when the war was over. So this hit me between the age of 3 and 9, kind of hard. That was during the war. And so that's when things were changing. My father was gone a lot because he was drafted into the SS. And that was a feared organization, part of Hitler's forces. And I was my father's favorite, and it was very, very hard for him not to be there. And of course, more for my mother to do, for the women generally, because the men were in the war. But still, that wasn't so bad. We would visit him wherever he traveled, and stayed at places that were unusual, sometimes a convent, sometimes a hotel, sometimes just in a private residence with people. And then we would visit him during the day, wherever he was in the army, and his whole battalion would take care of me and fuss over me. So that was really very nice. So, but then it got worse and worse. And the first thing that I really remember where my freedom was at stake was when I had to go to a meeting once a week. At least it was like a brownie troop, sort of, Here we have the brownies and the Girl Scouts. There we had organizations where we talked about Hitler and we talked about the beautiful and strong Germany. And I hated it. And oh my gosh, I had to wear a uniform. And our leader was a big, I thought, nasty woman. And if I forgot something or didn't have my uniform or I was late, she was just awful, and my mother would get in trouble. And she had to show up in the city hall in front of elders and be reprimanded, and she was told that I had to toe the line. But it was so restrictive, and having to do something that you don't care to do was troublesome. Anyway, that was just one thing. But we also had to worry about, having the shades closed so the bombers and the airplanes would not detect us. And I forgot that sometime. I came home from school in wintertime, and it was late. And so I went in the house joyfully and never thought about pulling the shades. So my mother came home just a little bit after me and had a conniption because I hadn't left the shades on. Well, sure enough, we were reprimanded again, So that's how it happened with every little thing. Then I remember my mother talking about guns and treasures that my father had, and we had to put them somewhere where they were safe. Well, it wasn't the bank or a safe deposit box. She buried them in the ground. It was all very secretive, and she did it at night, but somebody saw her and tattled, so she got in trouble again, and they confiscated, meaning that they took everything and kept it. And some of those things were things that were dear to my father, so they were sentimental for my mother, and that was kind of sad. Things like that went on all the time. We were watched. Another thing, I was in 2nd grade, and I loved my teacher. Well, we had to say Heil Hitler, you know, where you raise your arm and you say Hail Hitler. That was our greeting, and we were not allowed to use the words good morning or good night or good day or whatever. So one day I'm walking up the street towards my grandmother's house, and there comes my teacher, and I was so overjoyed to see her and said, "Oh, good morning, Miss Quayle." And she did the same thing. She said, "Good morning, Laurie. You know, where are you going? What are you doing today?" Well, we both got in trouble. I had to write 100 times, "I will never greet my teacher like that. I will say, Hail Hitler." And she was reprimanded as well. I don't know what she had to do though. And she never complained and she never told us. But it was sad, you know, to not be able to say hello to your teacher like that and then give her a hug or something. Yeah, so those are little things. And then little by little it got worse because, you know, we started struggling with food, with a lack of food. But we had food storage and we had big gardens. And it got really worse after the war was over.